Okay, we have finished the cover and the table of contents spread and the CEO shareholders letter spread. Now we're going to do the last sample spread of this annual report, which is for data. So what I want is I want this 2020 to be on the left side with the word financials down here, and I don't want that there. So I could unlock things, but I think it might be worth just building a new spread. And then if we were doing this annual report for real, you would definitely want different master page spreads. So I'm going to take the master and we'll go there. This is the master. And we're going to duplicate it. So I'm just going to say duplicate master. And then we're going to name it. So we'll go to master options for C. And I'm going to call this spreads. So that means that when there are spreads with the financial information or any of the information that we list in the table of contents, we would use this. Okay, so let's start moving things around. I don't want that. I want this, but I want it over here. So I'll just shift it. And then I also want another one of these down here. I'll hit Control Shift. Bring that up to right there. And we have our page numbers and we have our information up here. So we'll go back to our document. So we're just going to drag that master page to this one. So master page on the left and the right page also. So let's just unlock this left side, and this is going to be about financials. Now we've got a lot of data to put in, but we also have copy. So let's look at how we've been treating copy. In here, we put it 3 grid squares across. We made 2 columns, and I'm going to bring the body copy box. Let's come in closer. I'm going to start it right about at the bottom of this, and I'm going to go 3 grid squares across, staying in the gutter like that. And we've got 1, 2, 3 grid squares. Now we'll place our copy. So helicopter copy 2-1, and we want to remove the style. Now we have a paragraph style set up for this, so I'm going to apply that. It is the body copy paragraph style. So that's easy. We're done there. Now we want to make a subhead for our data, and it's going to say delivery in units. And that title we want to put in Avenir Next. We want to make it all caps. Let's make it demi-bold, and let's try keeping it 12 points. So let's make a style sheet called subheads, and we're good there. Now we want to put in our data. So I want to show you a font called Chartwell Fonts. So we're going to make a text box, and we're going to put in the data. Now I'm just going to make this up. So we're going to say 35, and let's go in real close. So we can plus 20 plus 17 plus 38. We have 4 bars that we want to put with that data. And we're going to highlight that. And we're going to go to Chartwell. And we want Chartwell vertical bars. And it's actually a good looking font on its own, but we're going to turn this into bars. So all you've got to do is go to your open tight discretionary ligatures, and boom, it becomes bars. And it's still typed, so you can make it as large as you want. So I'm going to go way, way bigger. And you can also you can take out, so right now it's at -20, -30. I guess when you go to -40, it trips it. And we want to make that bigger still. Problem is that it's going to bump the type box. We're going to create an outline of that, and then we're not dealing with it as a font anymore. Keep in mind that if you want to change these numbers, the best way to do it, you could either go back and return it to not discretionary ligatures, and then it's numbers again. Or you can go to Story Editor. So if you go to Edit, if you say Edit in Story Editor, since Story Editor doesn't have any styling, this numbers will just be sitting there. So if I change that to 48 and this one to 39, do you see how the bars changed? So that's a pretty cool way to get the accurate bars. And then just to get out of this kind of weird type box that it puts you in, I'm going to go to create outlines, and then there you have it. I have these 4 bars. Now I'm just going to bring them down here, and I'm going to set them right on our grid. I'm just going to hold the shift to keep them proportionate, although even if I don't hold the shift, it's fine. And there are my 4 bars. Now if I release that path, release compound bath, then I can color in each one. So this one I'll make blue, and this one tan, and this one yellow. Easy. And of course you could move those closer to each other or whatever you needed to do. But right now they sit in the grid. So the only thing that I want to do is put the numbers underneath, or the years. I want to put the years underneath now. So I'm just going to make a text box. I'm going to put 2015 tab, 2016 tab, 2017 tab, 2018. I highlight all those, and I'll just use the style sheet that we just made, which we called subhead, and we need to put a tab on those. So I'll hit Shift Command T to get my tab device. And what I want to use on this one is this center tab, center justified tab. And I'm going to make sure I put a tab before that also. There you go. So the first one I want to put each of these center justified tabs in the center of the bar. So there's one, there's another, and there's the last one. Now when we look at that, you can see that the text is centered below each bar. So we're done with the bar data. Now we'll move on to the pie charts. So now we're going to make our pie chart information. So we'll start with our subhead and just grab that and hold the Option key and Shift, and we'll just copy it down here. And we're going to call this one 2018 Sales Breakdown by Geography. Make a little bigger text boxes. Okay, now what we need to do is make a pie chart, and it's actually just as easy. Well, almost as easy. All right, so let's make our text box and let's put our numbers in. You need to make sure that when you put your numbers in here, they add up to 100. So we'll just put these numbers in here very quick. 9. We are going to use the font Chartwell Pies. There we go. And let's make it nice and big so we can kind of see what we're doing. Open type ligatures and you'll get this, which is a black pie. But you need to remember that in that black pie are all the different pieces. Let's go ahead and outline that one so that we don't even have to deal with it. Create outlines, and then we'll make this nice. And I am going to hold the Shift key when I enlarge this because I do want it to stay as a perfect circle. Let's go about right there. That looks good. So here are the pieces, but they're still hanging together. We have to release the compound path. Now we have individual pieces. And I'm going to make this one yellow, this piece is going red, and this piece blue, and then the smallest piece tan. So there. And that's it. That's how you make a pie chart with this. And you could pull a piece out, you can outline it in black, you can do whatever you want. What we want to do is just make sure that it's all kind of centered in this space. We know this is 3 grids across, so we just have to make this center part centered in the grid. Now we want to put a little key here that tells us more information since all we know is the color. So I'm going to make a text box. Set it right here. And I'm just going to lay out the 4 pieces, which are Asia 52, Europe 27, the US, and make sure you tab after these. We're going to need to tab these, has 12, and then other countries have 9. The other thing we want to put in front of these is some kind of circle or square. I'm just going to put a bullet because we can always make that bigger, and then I'm going to add a space. We're not doing the automatic bullets because we need to make each one of these a different color. If we did the bullets in the bullet and numbering system, we wouldn't be able to change each and every color. So first, let's get this all into our type. So I'm going to set this in, we could call this subhead and keep it the same as that. We'll just make it regular instead of bold, and we'll call this chart text. Now we need to set the tabs for this. Shift Command T. And what we want is 1 tab at the beginning, a left justified tab right here. And now we just want to add some leading here. So let's just bump that down. It's 11 point. Let's put it 11 over 18. We want to put a leader in there for this particular one. So we'll just set a dot and that should do it. And we can let's see if we can bring this over a little bit further too. That looks good. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to make these bullets quite a bit larger, and then we want to color them. So this one I'm going to color, we'll say that this is the largest number, so it's yellow. And I'm going to copy that bullet size and put it there, there, and there. And I'm going to make this one is the second largest, so that's the red. This is the third largest, so that'd be the blue. And then this is the 10th, but I think those look pretty good. I'm going to move the text box over a little bit so we can adjust the tab. Let's make the tab go all the way to the end of the column. And there we have it. Let's take a look. Looks pretty good. So I'm looking at this and I think this is too close to the copy. I don't want to move it over one entire grid unit because that's too far from the copy. They're disconnected. So I'm actually going to split the difference. And this is what I was talking about when I said you use the grid, but don't be chained. It doesn't make sense to bump this right up against the copy, and we don't want to go too far away. So I'm just going to go an extra gutter space away. Perfect. That looks good. Now we just need to do the layout on the right, which is easy. I've set a look of 3 grid with text columns, but there can either be 2 or 1. So let's make one that'll have 2 columns. So I'll go 6 grid units across, and I'm going to place the copy. And this is number 2, 2-. And all we have to do is put our body copy on that. And I'm going to make this a 2-column box. So I'm going to hit 2 and say, oh, and for some reason there's an extra space right there. And then I want you to just put the photo in here of the rescue and then bring this in. You could, if you stick to the grid, you could change this to a 1-column box, which might be a better idea. And then the image can go wherever it balances out. And there you go. That is your cover, content spread, mission page, and then a data page.